People, Deluded, I'm back again. Appreciative to have you lot tuned in with me each and every time. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe if you're new here. Now, allegedly, well, not even allegedly, first things first, we're playing Southampton tomorrow, Saturday. We're going to go over the injury news. Apparently, Thomas Partey is close to signing a new deal. Whether you believe that or not is another thing. We've had scouts assessing a couple of European-based strikers over the week owing to the Europa and Champions League. So, yeah, we've got a lot to discuss, people. If you give me 30 seconds to share my screen, we'll do exactly that, people. First things first, we have to go over what I would say for you lot's the boring part, but the most interesting part for me, looking at Mikel Arteta's press conference and all of these things. Now, apparently, Mikel Arteta had positive injury updates to share surrounding Jurrien Timber, who, as we know, came off against PSG with a muscular injury, Benjamin White, who's been carrying a knock, and Tomiyasu, who we haven't seen this season with a knee issue. Now, big fan of what Calafiori and Timber bringing to the table. Love Benjamin White. Don't agree with these comments. And now Benjamin White has to fight for his career and it's all done. We wanted depth. We wanted competition. We wanted a greater collective squad. We've got that. And when we talk about fullbacks, you can't not throw Tomiyasu into the mix. But he is irrelevant because we haven't seen him kick a ball this season. And I think that will be the only reason in the near future he leaves Arsenal, because Arsenal can't exactly bet on his fitness. Now, injuries happen to every footballer, as you know, but it seems like Tomiyasu probably spends more time in the treatment room than he does on the pitch for us. He said, we had to modify training for a lot of players. We done the same today because of the load that they had. So it's a decision to make this afternoon, whether to involve them, yes or no. They are close, and Tomiyasu as well is quite close to being involved. So good news. Hopefully, he could be on the bench tomorrow. As for Zinchenko and Odegaard, Mikel Arteta said both are likely to be closer to a return after the international break. Alex probably after the international break if everything goes well. He's progressing really well. With Martin, it's difficult to say. I expect him to still be in the boot and a lot of things, and he's working so hard and is really feeling good and is pushing it. So it's difficult to give a timeline. I think we'll see Odegaard, or the best chance of seeing Odegaard at the earliest would be when we play Liverpool at home, potentially Preston in the League Cup away from home, people. Mikel Arteta said Havertz can hit 20 goals a season. I mean, I hope so, because it's been a long time since I've seen a striker do that for our football club, people, if I'm honest with you. You know, he scored 9 goals in his final 14 games of the second half of last season. But Mikel said, first of all, because he's so good, because he wants it so much, and because he's surrounded by great players around him. The fact that he's gone through some difficult moments just made him a better player and a better person. He certainly has all the qualities, and he certainly has the ambition to score 20 goals a season. In the end, scoring goals sometimes are very small details, and a lot of things have to go for you. But he's got it, and his mindset has changed a lot in regards to that. He certainly has the ability to do that, in my opinion. Now, I'm not a Chelsea fan, but it does feel like, from what I know of Kai Havertz, and just specifically during his time in England, this last year, or I would say really the last 3-4 months, you're seeing a lot of, he's done an interview on Sky Sports, he's spoken with a lot of people, and he really speaks about scoring 20-odd league goals or wanting to score. So wish you all the best with that, Kai, man. In a positive way, you're a shadow of your former self, how your career at Arsenal began. So keep doing your thing, man. We have to be different. The impact that Martin has in everything we do, it was too big to replicate it with one player. We tried to do it in a different way, adapting a few things and using players' qualities, players that can play in the right position with the right chemistry around them. Maybe it took a game or two, but then it started to flow a bit better, but we have found a way. We have to put players in positions and qualities where they feel they are in their strengths and try to hide our weaknesses as much as possible. Without Martin, we have other things we cannot do, but we have a bigger threat in other areas, and we have to make the most out of that. Can't disagree with what's been said there. Big up Thomas Partey, which we're going to get onto, people. He said he's a massive player for us, and he's shown that week in, week out. He started the season really well, really fit. The way he's come back post-holiday was probably in the best condition that he's been in, which is really helpful as well. He's doing everything he can as well to be in the best physical condition. When you change certain habits and you want more consistency, things don't happen overnight. If in 2 or 3 weeks it doesn't happen and you throw in the table, you're going to waste the next 2 or 3 years of your career. I think his work ethic has been better than ever. Defensively, he's been really solid. And with the boy, had moments probably where his most complete performances, because he gave us everything that we want from him and he can deliver that. Don't think anybody's disagreeing. Should we see exactly what Mikel Arteta is saying? We've gone over that. We know it's obviously a big game against Southampton. We know Russell Martin, despite, I think he's a very good coach, and Southampton are a very good coach side. you need to get results in the Premier League, which they haven't been doing. You need to put the ball in the back of the net of your opponents, and you need to keep them out of the back of yours, which they have not been doing. That's all Ramsdale's been doing, is picking the ball out of the back of his net. And then I think it comes down to quality. I just don't think they have the quality in depth. I do like Tyler Diblin. Keen to see him at the Emirates, not do too much. Obviously, they've got big Ramsdale, who's flirting with a third relegation on his CV. So yeah, you're going to respect it, man. And they did well in the championship. On Ramsdale, he said, I called him straight away when I got the news of his transfer, and he was really happy. He's a player that we loved a lot, a very charismatic. He really put his fingerprints here on the club with the way that he was. It'll be good to see him on getting his team to feel they can overcome any challenge. That's what we are trying to do. We had a really difficult fixture list after the international break. And on top of that, a lot of unpredictable things happened in terms of injuries and players not being available, but we adapted. We looked forward and we competed really well in all those games. For sure, there are aspects that we have to still improve, but we're showing a lot of consistency and adaptability in the way that we can and win games. I think these are all very positive signs, but it's very early in the season still. We know the Emirates is going to mean something to him. We've gone over Kai Havertz's thing. Team talks are obviously going to be quite important. And whether it's too early to say who's in the title race, is super early. We have just started it. You can already feel the tension in every match and the importance of every match. We are just in October, so imagine some more thoughts on Ramsdale. It is personally because I was very grateful for what he did. When he signed, there was a lot of noise around him, a bit like David Raya initially, innit? We helped him to create an environment that he needed because we believed in his potential, and he showed it. He won the respect and admiration of all of us. Then the circumstances changed because this is elite sport and that can happen. It was difficult to deal with that situation in a natural way, so we decided to part ways, and hopefully he is grateful as well, people. On Saliba and Gabriel's partnership, obviously they are incredibly important for us, but I think the team has built that consistency and capacity to win matches because the 11 players are so committed in every phase of play. They have the hunger and desire to compete for every ball, people, as we know. And obviously we've had to find different ways to deal with Odegaard not being there. And Trossard and Havertz have been at the forefront. He said in certain games, yes, not just because of Martin, but because of the behavior of the position in terms of us being more direct. On if he's worried about international break causing potential injuries, I prefer not to watch the games. I pray that everyone is going to be fine because the last one was a really difficult one to handle in my eyes, which is true, man. On if he talks to players about their fitness before playing for their countries, first of all, the player has to be healthy to go in their national teams. But all of them, when I spoke to them, want to be part of that. And it's normal. It's a huge privilege to represent your country. They all want to be involved. They all have their role. They don't want to lose it. And we have to understand that as well. As much as I hear that, Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, Pulisic, please. You lot have 100% attendance for England. We saw the last international break. I'm sure Cole Palmer, amongst a bunch of other players, pulled out. Can we look to do that, people? We've gone over Partey's thing as well. On him earning a new contract, we play him to find our best version and to be more competitive that we can be and try to win every game. So he's very evasive, the gaffer, on that. Speaking of the gaffer, he's been nominated for September's Manager of the Month. Make sure you vote for him for that. Calafiori's goal, against Manchester City has also simultaneously been nominated for Goal of the Month. I think only, the recent game Cole Palmer scored 4. I think there was at least 2 worldies from him, in my opinion, or a great free kick. They're the only ones that can really talk to him. Although, would Duran's goal against Everton count? Would it? With Duran's goal against Everton count, Calafiori's obviously against City, and Cole Palmer's defo his free kick against Wolves. They've all got to be up there. Arsenal fans, let's be biased and vote for our man because, it was a first-time strike, really. It was a great strike from a fullback, people. So, yeah, make sure you lot show the Arsenal people some love. Arsenal and Partey are in agreement as future decision made over 45 million star. Arsenal are ready to open contract talks with midfielder Thomas Partey after both the Ghana International and the Premier League challengers turned down a potential summer move to Saudi Arabia. Smash the like button, but also let me know your thoughts on that. I must admit, we do see conflicting reports, people, if I'm completely honest, where he's concerned. People, some say he's going to go, some say he's not. Surely it will be on reduced terms. I could be wrong, but I'm sure there's a clause in Partey's contract about an automatic 1-year renewal. Apparently, with 6 already, Partey could equal his tally of starts from the whole of the previous year by the time November international break rolls around. So many international breaks. We know Partey's a quality player. It's just fitness, and more so with it does look like he's physically declining as well. But I'd say it's fitness and it's wages, people. So we'll have to see. But apparently, Arsenal are ready to open talks with Partey's camp. Arteta and his coaching staff are huge fans of the Ghanaian. A 2-year deal, one that would keep Partey in North London until the age of 33, is understood to be on the table. Partey's current priority is to stay with Arsenal, a factor which should make discussions over a new contract a lot more straightforward, people. Again, apparently Partey's already opened up on his future. In May, he said, "My head is always here. This is where I choose to play. I'm really happy every time I'm on the field. I know a lot of speculation has been going on for me, but I'm really happy to be here and continue playing for this club. With my contract, I still have to the end of next season. I think I have to do my best and try to perform at the highest level. And I think the most important is to be available every time." Now, that ties into what Arteta said about him looking after himself physically. So let's hope that continues. Barcelona and Atletico Madrid are apparently considering signing Partey from Arsenal as a free agent next summer. We'll have to watch that space. Liverpool apparently have thrown themselves in the ring along with Arsenal and Manchester City, I assume, to get Karim Adeyemi, who hit a hat-trick in the Champions League recently. Would love him, man. He's incredible. You know, he's fast, can score goals, can dribble. Very rough diamond. Consistency is the main thing for him. Easily one of the most frustrating players that I like. But I would have him, people. Whether we sign him is another thing. Allegedly, Arsenal had scouts watching Dusan Vlahovic and Benjamin Sesko, according to this publication. Arsenal were primarily at the game to check Leipzig star Benjamin Sesko, a player they were interested in this summer. Arsenal scouts were also in place to watch Juventus's Dusan Vlahovic with both netting braces on a dramatic night of Champions League football. You throw in Duran's dramatics against Bayern Munich, and all the strikers that are in high demand seem to be announcing themselves even more on the world stage, people. So yeah, people, apparently, in addition to watching Sesko, City, United, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Newcastle fans were there. I would love Benjamin Sesko, man, if I'm honest with you. Aaron Ramsdale was spoken, people. In fact, there's a better article here, surely. Okay, I don't have it. But Aaron Ramsdale, obviously, with it up being Arsenal Southampton, there's going to be things he's got to say, people. He said, "To be honest with you, if you'd have asked me at the end of May if I'd been sat here having a conversation as a Southampton player, I'd have said you're probably crazy." Wonder what he means by that, people, specifically. We all know Wolves, Ajax, Chelsea, Newcastle all showed a willingness to somewhat prize him away, people. But it just didn't happen. And again, I'd implore you lot all to go on BBC's website. Here it is, people, and speak about things. He said, "If I was sitting on the bench winning a trophy, it wouldn't have meant that much to me. I just wanted to play football. As a kid, I wanted to play football, not to just sit on the bench. Getting out and playing was my main aim. So I'm lucky I found myself here at Southampton. Been ruled out of the England squad, you know, well, not even ruled out, that's not the right word, just not been called up to the England squad last couple of ones, people. You know, so we wish Ramsdale all the best. And, you know, if you go and watch the video on BBC Sports, he talks about, like, I wanted to emulate David Seaman. He feels that the noise around him, and David Raya wasn't fair to anyone. He spoke about several things. It's quite a good little interview, if I'm honest with you. Apparently, people, Arsenal are interested in signing Arnaut Pardas, a promising winger from Barcelona, or the Juvenil A, so one of their youth sides, whose contract expires at the end of the season. Mikel Arteta is given the green light, recognizing Pardas' talent, and Barca will likely move to secure his future amid interest. So again, you want to take that with a pinch of salt. Eddie Nketiah has given a bit of talking, people, and apparently he said, you know, he's spoken on playing the number 10, and on Arsenal it was time to go. Let's see specifically what he said, people. He said, "It's about me being happy. I wasn't unhappy. There were things I loved about the club. I'd been at Arsenal all my life, but at the end of the day, a football player wants to play. Obviously, only 11 can play. You have to respect the manager's decision, but there comes a point when you think about your development. Especially as a striker, you need rhythm. You see players go a couple of games without scoring and then they have a purple patch. But in order to have that, you need that consistency in minutes. It's difficult, but it's life. There were times where I'd play and I had a run of games and I enjoyed it. I think that's the difficult part. You enjoy playing so much. When you don't have the opportunities, it's difficult to take." And we all know he grew up in Lewisham and whatnot, people. He said, "I've still got friends in the area. I think Crystal Palace as a whole just fits me. I'm really comfortable here. I like the way the club is, the morals they have. Fair play, man." He then said, that's the Austrian manager who's been playing 10s and whatnot, number 10s. "The manager gives us a lot of freedom to be where we feel comfortable. I'm maybe getting a few more touches front facing, which is a strength of mine, when I can dribble and run at opponents rather than always playing with my back to goal," which probably was the case at Arsenal for you. Fair enough. I didn't know that. Palace are still searching for their first win this season. That's crazy. I think they're actually a good team. Obviously, he's got a good relationship with Eze. Obviously, you know, Clearly, you know, there's a bit more freedom in attacking areas versus Arteta's system, which you obviously see with Crystal Palace. He said, I have a real belief in myself as a player. I just think I needed to go somewhere I felt I would have opportunities to be on the pitch and improve. I know it's not always going to click straight away, but everyone needs a platform to progress, trial and error on the pitch to learn. That was the main reason behind leaving Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal are challenging for the league and Palace will be in a different situation, but we've got a talented squad and there's no reason why we shouldn't have aspirations to keep climbing the table. I think it's a great project here. It's a different project, but it's definitely a great project that will allow me a platform to showcase my talents. Big you up, man. And I think everyone thought Palace would be the move for you. Arsenal are still linked with Florian Wirtz. Would love him at the club. Whether you lot believe this could happen, let me know in the comments, people. Allegedly, people, Bayern Munich are perhaps at the moment in the driver's seat for Wirtz because they can get more concrete than Bayern Leverkusen players other suitors. Real Madrid are the most dangerous competitor for Bayern, but as we've seen, Carlo Ancelotti said he'd love to stay longer in the Spanish capital. If Xabi Alonso ended up at Madrid as Ancelotti's successor, he could bring Wirtz with him. However, if this does not happen, Bayern Munich lead the race for Wirtz's signature. The most important thing for Wirtz is going to a club capable of winning the Champions League. Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Arsenal, and Chelsea's chances of doing so are higher than other clubs. Is ours really that high? Manchester City are searching for a Kevin De Bruyne or successor, and we already know that they're considering Xavi Simons in that regard, but it could also be Wirtz. So we'll have to see. I don't believe that's going to happen for Arsenal, but let me know. Once again, Partey is drawing interest, allegedly from Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, people. Nketiah is drawing interest from Italy once again, and Juventus, probably owing to the ACL injury suffered by Bremer, people. So yeah, Kivio's not going anywhere anytime soon. Apparently, Juventus are being linked with Hato of Ajax. I would still love Arsenal to bring him in, if I'm completely honest with you. Arsenal may have to nearly double the offer they submitted to sign Espanyol goalkeeper Joan Garcia if they return for a second bite at the cherry next season. Has he not got a release clause anymore? The Gunners are understood to have tabled around 17 million for the 23-year-old, but that fell short of the 25.2 million release clause. So if he doesn't sign a renewal, don't you just pay the money rather than whatever? Like, it don't really make sense to me. Apparently, a transfer is described as still on the table, and apparently Arsenal are still linked with Jonathan David, who I'm going to do a video on, to be fair with you. It'd be a bit of fun. Never seen this youngster before, but I think it would be great to do a video on him. Arsenal are said to be keen on signing Club Curo Porteño's youngster Diego Leon. That's at least, pardon me, what ABC's Cardinal Deportivo reporting that their title says the 17-year-old is very close to Arsenal. Apparently, the 17-year-old has been promoted to the Paraguayan side's first team in July. Since then, he's clocked 938 minutes from 11 games and got 2 goals in the process. I mean, Arsenal, we do love fullbacks, so why not, people? He has a contract with Chiero for 5 more years. He's one of the last jewels the club has produced. Because of his age and because of his game, his physical power, he's jumped several radars. The club is focused on him playing at least until next July when he comes of age. So we probably would not sign him until 18 at the very least. But the truth is that now the club has not received any offer. We hope that he settles in the first division. Then we'll see if a transfer takes place. Fair play to you. Timber has not been called up by the Netherlands national team for the next upcoming international break, which is amazing stuff for me because he's played a lot of football since his ACL. And apparently we've signed Joshua Cisse from Millwall and he's joining the club's under-15 squad. So yeah, big him up, people. Apparently he's described as one of the brightest prospects in the country. From the clips I've seen, he looks like a real good winger, able to play on the left and the right. So we'll just have to see. Wish him all the best on his development. But I by no means know this man religiously. So let me know your thoughts on everything we discussed. Don't forget, we're watching Arsenal versus Southampton tomorrow, people. The game kicks off at 3. I'll be watching it with you at 2. Don't forget to smash the like button. Peace.
Like